Today, I will be taking a look at Steinsgate Linear Bound Phenogram, a spin-off of the original Steinsgate consisting of 11 side stories, each one focusing on a specific character from the original visual novel. There will be spoilers for the main story of Steinsgate throughout this review, so if you haven't played the visual novel or watched the anime yet, please do so before watching this video. Steinsgate is one of, if not the best time travel stories of all time, and it deserves to be watched by anyone who loves time travel or even just science fiction in general. That being said, let's begin. Like I said before, Linear Bound Phenogram is a spin-off that consists of 11 side stories focusing on different characters, each of the different stories written by a different writer. Among the guest writers are, and I apologize in advance for butchering any Japanese names, Naotaka Hayashi, known for writing scenarios and other science adventure visual novels such as Chaos Head and Robotics Notes. Kotaro Ichikoshi, known widely for his Zero Escape series and more recently, AI The Somnium Files. Masahiro Yokotani, a screenwriter known for popular anime such as The Devil is a Part-Timer, ReZero Starting Life in Another World, and Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, and 7 other writers. During the anime adaptation of Steinsgate, Chiyomaro Shikura, one of the writers and producers for Steinsgate and other science adventure visual novels, realized the world of Steinsgate was fully conceived. He saw this as an opportunity for other writers who understood the world of Steinsgate to work on the title and bring fresh new ideas into it. Various writers who had been involved with Steinsgate-related media and were knowledgeable on the series were contacted, and the writers themselves got to choose which characters to write a story for on a first-come, first-served basis. And the result? Voila! This great game released on April 25th, 2013 in Japan, and later given an international release alongside Steinsgate Elite thanks to Spike Chunsoft. Seriously, it would not be an exaggeration to say Linear Bound Phenogram was the only reason I pre-ordered Steinsgate Elite, aside from the stellar new opening song for the game. Now that I talked about the development and backstory behind Linear Bound Phenogram, time for the review portion of this review. There are 11 individual stories in Linear Bound Phenogram, each focusing on a character from the original visual novel. Each of the new writers for the game managed to create new, interesting stories within the world of Steinsgate without deviating too far from the original tone or purpose of the original story. Most of these stories are certainly not canon. I can kind of see a couple of them potentially fitting into the original story due to the possibilities multiple time leaps and world line jumping can open up, but most are definitely not meant to be seen as canon. And I'm fine with that. I still really enjoyed the sequel movie, Lode Region of Deja Vu, and that story was very inconsistent to the rules established in the original story. It was a satisfying, emotional conclusion to the character arcs of Okabe and Kurisu, and that's basically what this game is. Each of the characters get a chance to shine in new stories with crazy twists and turns, and we get to see new sides to them and even more character development than was even possible throughout the course of the original story. For example, Suzuha's story focuses on her trying to fix her time machine, while 2 other versions of her from different world lines only visible to her are helping her. They kind of give an explanation for this, but it really doesn't work when you think about it. However, this leap of faith is worth it due to the satisfying and bittersweet ending that Suzuha's story provides. And while the stories themselves are probably non-canon, they do give some information that can 100% be applied to the main canon story of Steinsgate. One such example. If you're like me, you were probably never actually wondering this, but this small detail actually explains something pretty critical in hindsight, and overall, it just fleshes out the world of Steinsgate with more detail, which, it's something I always appreciate. Onto the detail. Have you ever wondered how Mr. Braun is able to keep the building where all the characters meet and spend so much time? The building that houses the infamous lab? It's said multiple times that he doesn't get many customers simply because no one's really shopping for his products. I just sort of assumed it was because of his work as a rounder that CERN paid him enough to keep his building. However, in the first story, Dr. Jekyll Online, we find out how he actually gets the money to keep his building. I won't say because of spoilers, but it's an interesting and unexpected detail that more than fits into the main story of Steinsgate. All the other stories are filled with similar details or character development, and any Steinsgate fan should find some enjoyment in this game. This is a great example of how to create more content and stories for a series without ruining the original series ending or simply milking the franchise. That being said, the stories are of varying quality. Some of them deal with serious pacing issues. Specifically, one of the 2 Okabe-focused stories, Kotaro Ichikoshi's Abduction Across 3 Worlds, simply dragged on for far too long, in my opinion. It felt repetitious, and by the end, when the mystery for that specific story was solved, I was just too burnt out to feel invested. Although I will admit the mystery itself is very well done, and the answers are properly foreshadowed and hinted at. Apparently, he wrote the story out of order, and I don't know if that's a normal writing thing, but maybe that has something to do with the repetition? I don't know. It just felt like a lot of information was repeated over and over, more so than usual in a Steinsgate time travel filled story. I did, however, find something to like in all of the stories, and I'm surprised how they managed to make me care about the characters who were the protagonists. For example, Mayuri's story, Eternal Polaris, actually made me really care about Mayuri, and I didn't beforehand. I always understood Mayuri's importance to Okabe, and while Steinsgate 0 did make me care about her a little more, whenever I was emotionally invested with her, it was more over Okabe losing more and more of his sanity and hope while desperately trying to save her and failing, rather than because of Mayuri herself. But like I said, by the end of the story, I was really emotionally invested in her. The ending actually made me tear up a bit. I had a newfound respect for her character. The best 3 stories in my opinion are the first Okabe-focused story, Dr. Jekyll Online, which has a predictable plot twist, but the way it handles the twist with the dreadful and heavy atmosphere is amazing, and it gave me very similar feelings to when I was reading the original Steinsgate for the first time. Like I said before, Mayuri's Eternal Polaris, which made me really care about Mayuri. And lastly, Nae's Lunar Bifrost, which, yes again, I never thought I would care for that little psycho! Those are my personal favorites, although like I said before, while all the stories aren't perfect, I did enjoy them all to some extent. The artwork in the game is great. Most of the character sprites are reused from the original visual novel, but the new artwork is made once again by Hugh, and it has the same great aesthetic as before. It's Hugh's great artwork that kind of makes Steinsgate Elite feel pointless in my eyes. The anime adaptation is great, don't get me wrong, but the animation in it is nothing spectacular. It's not bad, it's consistently good, but I see no reason to replace the colorful and unique art of the original visual novel with the passable art of the anime. I get that there's more movement because they take clips from the anime, but still, it just seems pointless in the end to me. I haven't played Elite yet, but from what I understand, it doesn't add anything story-wise to the main story, so I don't know when I'll actually play it. Probably sometime in the future when I want to reread Steinsgate and do it in a slightly different way. But hey, thanks to Elite, we got an official localization of Linear Bound Phenogram, and I finally got to play it, so no complaints here. The soundtrack is also a mix of reused music from the original visual novel and new music made specifically for this game by the same composer, Takeshi Abo. The background music fits the atmosphere of the various stories, and the new opening and ending songs by Ayane, Zue, and Kanako Ito are all great additions to the already superb Steinsgate soundtrack. So, in the end, Steinsgate Linear Bound Phenogram is a great addition to the story of Steinsgate that any fan should enjoy. Though probably non-canon stories, we get to see our beloved characters once again in new and exciting situations, giving them new character development and background information to the readers along the way. I rate Linear Bound Phenogram an 8 out of 10. Linear Bound Phenogram is available for PS4 and PC with the purchase of Steinsgate Elite. So far, that is the only legal way to get the game. With that review done, have any of you watching played Linear Bound Phenogram? And if so, what did you think? Did you agree with my score? And what are your favorite stories of the 11? Please feel free to comment and discuss below, and until my next video, see you around.